Good evening and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Mephisto, and always with me, my hetero life mate, all my feelings. Good evening to you, sir.
Eden, buddy.
What is the Reel McCoy? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we break it down, geek on it, and break it all into weird kind of pieces to enjoy the movie cinematic experience. If you want to interact with the show, please at me on Twitter hello, that's not that. That is that. There we go. Hey, got to keep that streak alive. Follow me on Twitter at Mephisto. DMs are open. Also on Instagram at Mephisto79. You can email the show at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And we have no guest today, but we will push through because I had a lot of fun with this movie. What is the movie? We conclude our Richard Donner month. It is, of course, the movie that time and everybody else has forgotten. It is called Assassins from 1995, starring Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas, and of course the lovely, luscious Julianne Moore.
And more. Well, and also Antonio Banderas is doing his best possible depiction of being a pig as an actor, because he is hamming it the fuck up.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was.
Oh my God, this man is a geophagist. You know why? Because he's chewing up scenery.
Oh,
we're gonna get to that. It's actually really good.
Let's start with the usual question: how many times have you watched this movie this week or last week? Doesn't matter.
I actually had to watch it 4 times.
Really?
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out if there was something else I could find from some other notes. Because again, this is a film that took me forever to find notes on for our first segment, which is coming up.
Yeah.
And there are very few notes about it. Everything really surrounding the film, there was no major controversies. There were some casting things that we'll get to. But other than that, it seems as though this film kind of went off without a hitch, came out, did relatively well, and then just disappeared.
It's one of those movies where if it came out in the 80s, it was, I would say, had a moderate release and would have done very well in the VHS market. And
Oh yeah,
I bet,
100%.
I don't know if you have those notes. We'll get to that in just this little, like 1 minute. I don't know if you have it in your notes. I bet this movie did very well in the like DVD rental box, blockbuster thing, because
Sort of.
not a lot of people really. Okay, let's do. Like, you
Sort.
know what?
Yeah.
Let's just jump right into it. First segment of the night, behind the screens. Go to All My Feelings, and you'll get the lowdown on everything behind the scenes.
Production take 2.
Take it away, dude.
So the original screenplay was actually written by the Wachowski brothers, who are now just the
The
Wachowskis.
Wachowski sisters. Okay, the Wachowskis.
They sold the film to Joel Silver for $1 million, who Joel Silver then actually 6 months later bought The Matrix from them for $1 million as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
$1 million for this script, $1 million for the Matrix. Very interesting. Okay.
One of these things is not like the other. Yeah.
One of these things ain't like the other, right?
The original didn't include Nikolai as a character at all.
Okay.
That whole storyline didn't exist.
That's the whole twist of the movie, isn't it?
Yeah. But the whole thing is actually more of a love story between Wrath and Elektra.
Oh, I'm so happy they cut that shit out.
Now, what's funny is the next thing. Donner was offered $10 million to direct, but he insisted that the script had to be completely rewritten.
Okay.
To remove and tone down the violence. This movie is pretty damn violent. I'm really interested to see what the hell was in the original.
Maybe Miguelito kind of, you know, the scene where he's in the cab and he's threatening the soccer players. Maybe he shot in the original
Number
scene.
13 is looking awfully tired.
Exactly. Or the Días de la Muertes.
Oh yeah,
right? The Day of Dead celebration. Maybe. I don't know.
Well,
seems
it
about
also
right.
He wanted it rewritten to make Wrath more of a sympathetic character, and I'm like,
even more sympathetic?
I was like, wait, he was supposed to be sympathetic to begin with? Because I'm sorry, Stallone. There's a reason why one of the first like the Razzies. This is his, I think, his third nomination for best.
He got nomination for this movie?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me.
No. Let's be fair. His depiction is not great.
Okay.
He has a couple of moments where it's like, okay, he's actually acting. Besides that, he's just like, oh, wow, you're just insert Sylvester Stallone into a role.
Okay. That happened a lot in the 90s. We kind of mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
We'll mention it again. Don't worry.
Yeah. Brian Hengelin did a full rewrite. What they call a page one rewrite.
Okay.
And actually, that's the reason why he got a co-screenwriting credit for it with the Wachowskis.
Okay.
Brian Hengelin wrote L.A. Confidential.
Yeah.
A Knight's Tale, and directed Legend.
Legend with Tom Cruise? Legend?
No, Legend with Tom Hardy. With the two the British gangsters.
Yeah.
He directed a couple other films too that were kind of middling success ones, but not really. But still, they got Brian Hengelin to rewrite. It's like, that's crazy. The Wachowskis were so furious about the rewrite, they demanded that their names be removed as screenwriters for it. The Writers Guild, the Writers Guild went, no.
Yeah, refused.
You're on there. Mel Gibson was actually interested in directing this. He
Not
read this. He
not
read the
starring
script.
as Robert Rath.
No, he was interested in directing it, but he was busy at the time making Braveheart.
Okay.
So he was actually the one who gave the script to Donner first.
The original?
No, the original
That-
script, yeah, before Donner
Okay.
made
Okay.
the rewrites, because he was really interested in making the movie. This is crazy. The lead role, the Wachowskis, wrote the role of Wrath to be played by Sean Connery.
Well, technically, he's supposed to be old, very old, but I don't see Sean Connery doing that.
I don't see it.
Was he
at
busy at the time making The Rock?
I do believe so, yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Some other people that were offered the role of Wrath were Michael Douglas
Okay.
and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Obviously. All right, cool.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. Christian Slater and Wesley Snipes were both offered the role to play Bane, but turned it down.
I get why Wesley Snipes turned it down. Christian Slater.
I think he was at the time he was going to be working on Broken Arrow.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
god.
Other people who turned down the role of Bane were Johnny Depp, Kevin Bacon, Tom Cruise.
I get it.
And Woody Harrelson.
Oh shit! It could have been great with Woody Harrelson because Miguelito is like fucking crazy.
Yeah,
would have been great with
off the
with
wall.
Woody
He's
Harrelson.
bonkers.
Yeah, but Tom Cruise. I'll tell you why Tom Cruise said no. It's not the money. It's not the how much scenery is because Miguelito has like Miguel Bain has a lot of stuff to work with.
Oh yeah,
but I think Tom Cruise at the time did not want to do villains
because he had just got done playing Lestat, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to do villains that much. Lestat was an oddball.
Yeah, because Lestat technically he was the villain in Interview, but not the villain.
Yes,
and
exactly.
That's the whole Anne Rice mythos too, which is
typically doesn't portray the typical villain role in any movie. Even in look, if you take Tropic Thunder, which basically has no villains, the only villains in it is the heroin dealers.
Yeah.
I guess he portrays a certain different kind of villain. And again, this is a minor role in a relatively small movie or small production, I would say. Not a summer blockbuster.
Yeah. The quote unquote Dutch buyers, they only say one word that's actually Dutch. Other than that, they speak a little bit of German and English. That's it. I just find that really funny.
That wouldn't surprise me.
The only word in Dutch that they say is niks, which is just nothing. It's literally that. That's what it means. Nothing.
Okay.
So Staff was here. He'd get that. Anyway.
Staff here? I'm not sure he's here. If he's
here,
he's
here. But anyway, I was going to say, overall, though, for the film, it had a $50 million budget, which is a pretty decent budget.
Pretty decent for the time.
$83.3 million gross, so a decent return on investment. Even after, I don't even know if they had a marketing campaign because no one remembers this movie.
I recently saw an interview. It came up on the YouTube thing, which was weird. With I think it was Tom Cruise, if I'm not mistaken, and he literally broke down. No, not Tom Cruise. Who was it? Wasn't Tom Cruise. He literally said, look, why in the 90s we had a lot of movies that made a lot of made an impact because it was Matt Damon. It was an interview with Matt Damon on Hot Ones from all things. He said people don't do movies like Good Will Hunting, which is like Gus Van Sant kind of indie-esque film, because if the movie costs about 50 million, you need another 50 million to cover the costs, right? So you need to make 100 million in the box office, but not really, because you have to share profits with the theaters. So you basically, if you're making a $50 million movie, only in order to start making profits, you need to hit that 120 million mark.
Yeah.
Now, he said back in the old days, you had DVD sales. So if your theater release wasn't doing that well, so either broke even on the oh, my camera, what? If you camera, stop. If the movie made 100 million, not 120 million, and you needed that 120 million to get to that point, you're counting on the DVD sales. Today, with all the streaming service, there are no DVD sales, and nothing that you can count on, right? So you're making barely even, or taking a little bit of a loss. So nobody would make a $50 million movie, which is your basic indie, not indie, but Hollywood, not blockbustery movie. That's the thing.
That makes sense.
That's the thing.
Which
right?
that also too is what's really important about the time that it was coming out was 1995, is that, you know, major video rental chains still existed, and they were purchasing a lot of copies of films across the world. So even if you were making even a dollar or two off of the production of each of those DVDs or VHSs to stores sold worldwide, you're still going to recoup anywhere between $10 to $15 million just off that on its own. And not to mention the massive amount of overpriced, you know, budgeting of DVDs and VHS sales back in the day. Basically, they were making them for $0.25 to $1 a piece, and they were selling them. Back then, what DVDs were?
I don't know.
I don't think
$30?
DVDs were really out yet. Or they were
1995?
very new.
We had a DVD player, I think. We had a rudimentary DVD player at the house.
I know we did
not.
We
were
VHS,
not.
so.
Trust me, we were not poor. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just overthinking. We definitely had a VHS, but I remember having.
But it was
a DVD
still even
player.
VHS copies were selling for at least $15 to $20 a pop. Still.
Well, 1995, we still everybody had but again, VHSs and DVDs doesn't really matter what the thing is, but
their production cost is so low. You're
still recouping a lot of, let's call it home video, which is basically both DVDs and VHSs. You would recoup that if you didn't make the money. So if you made this movie for 50, made 80, you said 83 million?
83 million gross,
which didn't really maybe broke even, maybe on the cusp of making just a little bit of money, depending on what you had with contracts with Stallone, all that stuff. Maybe you just recouped it from I know for a fact that a lot of people watched this not in the theater. I watched it in the theater with my good buddy of mine, and a lot of people watched this on VHSs or DVDs or whatever it was at the time. So we will jump into this movie.
One last note is that Richard Donner is actually quoted as stating, "I know the movie didn't do that well, but I'm actually really proud of what we did."
To be fair, I don't understand why a Razzie was warranted. He wasn't doing that well.
We're gonna get into it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's start with the first kind of. By the way, can you see this or is it black to you?
I can see it. We're good.
Okay. I'm going to start with the first scene, but again, I'm going to jump forward from here, forward, because
I was going to say there was just that one important scene at the beginning where it shows Nikolai being shot at the beginning. The black and white shot, because that just kind of sets up everything. And this is basically this is another unknown sort of assassin that basically he was taking out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the only thing I've mentioned here is he said that uh, the assassin that didn't want to die, he didn't want to die as a mark.
Mark. Yeah.
He didn't want to die as a mark, as the target, which kind of sets up Robert's kind of mood while he's being chased by Miguel. To
Yeah.
me,
I was gonna say too, with the way that he had him already set up, is this was set to be an execution style killing because he had him
yes.
on his knees. But remember, at the end of the film, Nikolai said, I wore the bulletproof vest because I knew that you always, when you kill a target, you shoot them in the heart." So it's like,
Yeah,
film,
it's a
you're
little bit of
contradicting
inconsist. Yeah,
yourself.
yes, it's a little bit of inconsistency. Uh, and then of course we get to see him getting another contract because he wants to
Which this is
retire.
the first bit where he's talking to himself, going, "Yeah, I'm out. I quit." And the first, it's like, I have another contract. It's $200,000. Oh, I'm back in.
They pulled me back in. So he has this, which to be fair, I love it so much, but if anyone there was a little bit smart, he would have seen the hole on the side where the bullet is supposed to come out.
Well, no. See, the thing is, he has a bit of tape over it, so they had no idea.
No, not the front, the side. He didn't have the
Oh,
tape on
yeah,
the side,
that's right.
which
Yeah.
is a little bit of a you missed there. You missed it. You missed it. But again, he goes into the mark and he gets outperformed by Miguel. And of course, he wants to either take out Miguel. He didn't know him at the time. He wants to take out Miguel or literally just question him. Where the bit that I found funny was he kind of figured out that he would like a taxi cab. And when he got to the guy, I was like, "Oh, let me give you a little bit of compensation. You know what? I'm not gonna even count it. You take it all." And when he takes it, he like hits him in the face. Love that. Love it. Love it. And when he picks up Miguel, let me do this right. There we go. They have that conversation, right? That
And again, Antonio Banderas in this whole movie is,
he is hamming this shit up.
it was actually such a delight because you could tell that Antonio Banderas is having a fucking ball with this movie.
I checked. By the way, if anybody sees this now live, I can tell there are lurkers. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine. And you VOD watchers, the few that you have, check me on this. I could not find a movie with Antonio Banderas talking English, a Hollywood movie, not Pedro Almodovar, not one of those. Find me a movie that he was on before this, because I think this is his Hollywood debut. Now, Antonio Banderas was well known in Hollywood for the
Yes.
Hollywood producers because of Pedro Almodovar, which did a series of movies throughout the late 80s and early 90s,
Mhm.
sort of what we call an artsy movie, right? So it's very much like a movie, a director that also is a screenwriter that tells his kind of, oh, this is a story I wanted to tell you. Um, I mentioned it on the MGTOWN podcast as well. I kind of remember it now. That's where he kind of came from. He kind of
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas, Penelope Cruz. There was a Spanish actress that kind of didn't make the switch to Hollywood. I don't remember her now, but those actors had sort of aspirations to go to Hollywood. And when they did go to Hollywood, this is like the first thing that came out. Yes, I went on a tangent. Antonio Banderas's film debut. So they have that little spat in the car doing some chit chat, you know. And when, and kind of Miguel kind of expresses where he's coming from, where he is another assassin and he wants to be number one.
This whole concept in this too, where he's like a petulant child. It's like, no, but I have to be number one.
Yeah, to be fair, again, a little bit of impressions from the podcast I was on. By the way, subscribe to MGTOWN Podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. This guy is a simp. This guy is not an alpha. This guy's a beta. Now I'm telling you right now, he is such a petulant child. He is not coming from a position of power. He is trying to be the best, but he does it in a very kind of a weird, sly way. You have to take down the old lion to be number one in the business where you just pick up contracts anonymously, and you're supposed to be the anonymous assassin. The fact of the matter,
that's also one question that we're gonna circle back to.
That, I was gonna say
some major issues about the whole.
As opposed to Robert, where Robert isn't seeking that fame. He took down Nikolai because it was a well-worth contract that he was personally involved with. But I don't know. To me, he showed a little bit of remorse having to kill Nikolai. But I don't know.
Yes, he did. And the fact that, also when he had to kill the other assassin at the beginning of the film, where that was Ketchum. It was Ketchum, yeah. When he had to kill Ketchum, he was like, well, he's ranting to himself about, how I quit. I'm done. I'm done with this. Then again, that 180-degree character turn where he just goes, okay, I'll do another one. It's no big deal.
And at the end of their encounter, by the way, the fact that Miguel isn't dead is a shock to me. How he like literally squished him over a bus
against the bus. And by the way, did you notice the anti-NRA?
Yes,
billboards all over the side of the bus. It shows it twice. It shows it later in the scene when Elektra is escaping the hotel. She gets away.
Is that Dick Donner's kind of statement thing?
I think so. It's like a subtle little dig in there to just be like, no.
Or it could be just, the Hollywood thing where they're opposed to the NRA for like years and years, and it hasn't started 2016. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I do love the fact that there is, as I don't know if he was in Desperado before this or not.
I'll check.
But I'm just thinking of it's just the concept of the Mexican standoff in the cab. It's kind of like a little tongue in cheek, isn't it?
Kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Same year.
Oh, it was the same year? Okay.
Oh, you know what? Kind of think about it. So Desperado came out August 25. This came out October. Yeah, I was incorrect.
Desperado.
See,
okay.
I just found. So Desperado was his film debut, and
I thought so because he was working with Robert Rodriguez on that. Yeah,
exactly. So he basically did both, and they both came out the same year. So yeah, I was wrong. Desperado was his film debut. 2 months later, you've got Assassins as well, which elevated his Hollywood star, basically.
And one thing that's going to be a running theme throughout this that is by far one of the most annoying things, where it's just, hey, you know what? Silencers don't work that way. At all.
Oh, no.
At all. Everybody would have heard every single one of them gunshots.
No. It was literally throughout the movie. It doesn't sound like your typical 80s. The sound effect is really specific.
Yes.
Throughout the 80s, you had that little choop. There's a thing with it. And in this one, all you heard is like thumps. It's really different the way they use
It
that.
almost sounds, in a lot of ways, almost like a staple gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's like a thump rather
It's like
than
thump.
a
Yeah.
something that goes through like a type of whistle.
Yeah, because you're
It's
exactly
really
right.
hard to explain.
It's kind of like if you were blowing something out of
A,
an
a
actual
blow
whistle
dart.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because it has that the 80s sound had that rush of like that, and
Yeah, exactly.
then it would thud. This is just
Yes, just a thud
yeah.
of the bolt going back and forth. Not to be too specific, but yeah, it's weird the way they did it, and it's definitely not how it works.
No,
Silencers do not silence that much.
not
So
at all.
we get the whole when that finishes.
Well,
We
they have
kind
the
of
conversation in the cab too, like how Bane basically just gives up the ghost immediately. That he's been following Wrath's career forever, and essentially idolizes him because he talks about Nikolai, about how he's the one who killed Nikolai. They even talks about their last chess match that they had together.
Yeah, and he brings up a sort of a move that puts their last like match would have been in a check for Nikolai or Miguel Bain at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna flash it for a second, but it's literally like 10 minutes of full sequence where you get to meet. It goes back and forth from Robert to Elektra.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see her with all her surveillance, kind of
setting. By the way, Elektra is a creep.
Oh, she's creepy as fuck. She is creepy as fuck, but it's it's Julian Moore, so who gives a shit?
You're kind of like, yeah.
But it sets up her kind of how she works as a surveillance, and she gets a job, and she goes with the Dutch
guys, yes.
The Dutch guys, and
the one thing I did want to add about the escape scene, I thought that was pretty clever with the way how Wrath got away by pulling into the big cabbie stand with all the other cabs.
Yes,
the helicopter, like, we got him. We don't got him.
No. By the way, just to be sure, this cat is a famous cat. You know what I've seen this week? I've seen Lethal Weapon. I've seen 2 and 3 Lethal Weapons.
Yeah.
It was in 3 as well.
And also in
he was named Timer in the movie The Specialist.
With
that's what it was. Stallone.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
And oddly enough, Stallone actually asked for that cat specifically because he thought they worked well together.
Meaning the cat, meaning the cat didn't scratch him. Right?
Yeah.
But it kind of sets up the whole meaning where Miguel is literally murdering all the Dutch people there, and
it turns out they're actually all Interpol agents too,
and they're all Interpol. And when
and the one side note about Elektra though is when she's going up the elevator, that thing, I just thought she was being fucking weird because she's already like she's surveying all of her, all of her neighbors and everything. I did not realize she was spray painting, so I thought she was just going.
Didn't?
And just messing with this rich lady, or just being a creep, because we've just well established she is a creep. But no, when she walked out and saw the big anti-fur sign on the spray painted back, okay, that makes so much more sense.
It just sets her up to be an activist of some sort. And plus, again, Hollywood, even back then, they had that thing against the NRA. They had that thing against fur for the longest fucking time. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, we got you. Okay, so I love it when...
We do have the one scene where...
this scene I love because he hams it up.
He hams it up real bad. But before that too, where Wrath randomly goes up to the kid that's getting money out of the ATM because he has long hair like Bane
Yeah.
and holds him up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And the kid's just like hands him his cash. And Wrath just turns away and goes, "Get a haircut."
Get a haircut. It's like, security.
I will say what's great too
is why I love
the,
this. I loved watching this movie again. This is so
the
good.
setup with the payment with the RC car in the vent. I was like, okay, that's clever.
Yeah, but how much did she get? Which was odd. $40,000 for stolen files
Like
seems a bit small.
Yeah, especially small potatoes for especially what
Like,
whatever
just
this
her
data
gear?
was.
Yeah, just her gear for 1995 would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right?
Yeah.
Just the equipment. All right. So Miguel kind of finds it out and he's like, honey, I'll tear your heart out.
But Wrath, come on, dude. I know you had to get the security guy to go away, but did you have to eat his banana too? Don't be a dick.
Oh, yeah. When he was looking for and it was clever because he was looking for rooms through the room service things. This room got coffee, and a tuna
and a can of tuna.
Can of tuna, yeah.
And it was actually under Dr. Katz?
Yes.
That was both the rooms' names.
Yes, of course. Right. Before we continue with the whole meeting in the apartment, we will do our first segment of the night, which is called Missing Marquee. What is Missing Marquee for the uninitiated? We take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, and present them. And Oh My Feelings, because, and we don't have a guest, Oh My Feelings will have to guess which movie this is. Will we have another lightning round? Will we not? I suggest we will not.
Okay.
By the way, this is random. I just pulled it up, watched the whole entire 10, and I was like, maybe not today. But
okay.
We'll see. Maybe I'll get a nice little surprise. So 3, 2, 1, lightning round number 2, begin.
As good as it gets?
As good as it gets. Shall I punch in?
Oh, God. I forgot this movie. I already know I don't have it.
Okay. It's called Batteries Not Included.
Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth.
Is that Congo?
Not Congo.
Sierra Leone?
Not Sierra. It's in he plays a South African. DiCaprio.
Yeah.
The Diamond.
Blood Diamond.
It is Blood Diamond. Correct. Paula Patton.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's where he goes back to the future. No, back to the past to change something. Oh, I told you. This is why I told you won't remember. It's called Deja Vu. By the way,
is that just the original Ghost Rider?
It is Ghost Rider.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, God.
Trust me, it was random.
That's not Universal Soldier.
No, that was last week.
It's not Cyborg.
It's not Cyborg. Different. This one, he's in Louisiana. And Lars Erickson, Bishop from Alien, is hunting people.
That's
and it also had diabetes in it.
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley's in this. And an actress that time has forgotten, called Yancy Butler. Seth is here, by the way. Decided
no idea.
To join our little game. It's called Hard Target.
Hard Target. That's not the English Patient, is
It
it?
is the
It's the
English
English
Patient.
Patient.
And last one.
What was I going to tell you whenever a Bond film came up? Because I automatically get it right regardless, because
All
this
right,
happens in every single Bond film.
I'm gonna give Saf a good old try to tell me which movie this is. This is the movie where Bond dies, but not really dies, and then it has the trope of the volcano with the secret base inside it.
Is this Die Another Day?
Not Die Another Day. That's a different Bond movie with a completely different Bond.
I don't know Bond films. They're all bad, so it's fine.
Saf says it's
Bond?
Bond, obviously. Right. This is You Only Live Twice, which has the movie theme of it was taken for a sample for Robbie Williams's movie song Millennium. Oh, dude, it was fantastic. If you hear the notes, the starting notes of this, you'll be like, "Oh, that's right."
I could probably recognize the song, but no, not the.
You'll
No.
definitely recognize the song. All right, cool. That was funny, and we'll definitely not make it into a short,
No.
which nobody has ever seen. Right. So we get a little bit of a face off, and kind of Miguel figuring out where this woman lives through a picture. I don't know how,
Yeah, there was
but he
also sort
did.
of that setup where Bane was trying to pull out the old version of Wrath when he and Elektra were in the room, just
Yes.
because that was kind of important, because there's character development on Wrath's side, even though Stallone's acting is so wooden you couldn't tell.
They were trying to get to the fact that Robert has he's sort of like Angel. He's a vampire with a soul.
No, Angel was good.
Robert is not. Well, definitely not. Definitely not. Right. It's, the whole point of it, he does not kill women and children.
Yes.
So he has some sort of a conscience.
Well, and also, if you
while
think
he
about
kills people.
I'm trying to think, did Wrath even kill anyone besides Bane and Nikolai at the
Nope.
end after the last assassin that he killed?
Nope.
Because it's Bane doing all the
He
killing.
didn't even kill the Mark at the start. He only killed.
No, that's right. Yeah, he didn't, because the Mark killed himself.
He
technically
only killed Nikolai.
And Bane.
And Bane.
Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't.
Well, to be fair too, he may have not actually been the one that killed Nikolai, because Bane is the one who gave him that final shot. So it could be the fact that he actually Wrath only killed Bane in this whole movie.
Well, technically, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Nikolai gets shot multiple times from multiple angles.
Yeah.
So he was a partner to killing Nikolai, and he killed Bane. Yeah.
And to be fair, Bane probably would have been dead after that first shot too, but we're gonna get to that.
Anyway, so we get to the apartment. There's Robert and Elektra get there first, right?
And there's the whole setup behind it too, where they're both doing their own, how they are breaking down how to find this woman. They handle it in completely different ways, but it does. That was kind of I thought was
because he runs away with Elektra, but Elektra kind of makes she runs away, but she leaves her cat. So Robert goes to the pet store to find out about the cat. So he gets the address. So he gets there first, or just about with her. So he gets there first and gets her away, because they literally see Miguel downstairs killing the neighbor, right? she gets her to go away, and he waits for Miguel, but she comes back because she wanted to warn her, the female neighbor.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one
and
she
we have
called poor baby again, like a creep as she was watching her cry on the bed. It's like
yes,
it's really unsettling.
yeah. Um, we said she is a creepy motherfucker. She's even more creepy than Robert, to be honest.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In
Well
terms of
then,
like cringy creepy,
well
right?
then, it was Bane who was in. Which side note? This is I laughed out loud every single time after the first time I saw it when the when the female neighbor tries to escape with with the present in her hand still because she's
Yeah,
gonna give her boyfriend something
yeah,
as kind of a makeup gift. He goes, "Oh no, don't do that!" and shoots her right in the back. He goes,
yeah.
and Bates was like, "Ah, shucks, I killed another one."
And when he faces off, kind of like around the bend from Robert, he has like, I've got a press. Is it here for my birthday? And he rattles it, and he's like, oh, that's not what I came to see. And he opens it.
No,
He
he opens it
gets
up and goes,
fucking annoyed. He gets
"This
so
is the
fucking
first
annoyed.
time where it's almost like Antonio Banderas has never said the word fuck or shit before, because
Oh,
it's said with such a thick accent and in a way where he's saying a word that is absolutely foreign to him."
yeah. And it comes up later. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that
in the
one.
hotel room. Yeah, but also with that scene when Bane looks up and he finds the camera that's in the smoke
Oh,
alarm, and he
when he
puts it in like, "Oh, you dirty bitch."
yeah. I don't have it right here, but yeah, he's like, it's like, oh shit, you are a dirty, dirty bitch. See, this is what made me watch it more than once. Because I didn't need to watch it more than once, but
Yeah.
I watched it more than once and was like, this is exactly why these movies were actually made.
Mhm.
It is, we'll talk about it at the end, but it is an action movie. You watch it for about, it's 2 hours, but it goes by fast. It
It
goes
does
by
very, very so,
really
yeah.
fast. The pacing is super fast. There's not a lot of like serious action moments. This one at in the end sequence are the only kind of actiony moments. There are a few moments where it's like sort of on the precipice of like discovery or the falling weapon or getting down through the floor, that sort of thing at the end at the
Mhm.
hotel, but not really like super duper actiony moments. There's the cab here in the apartment and the hotel sequence at the end. That's about it. But you're
There's
on
a
the
little bit
edge.
with the monorail scene,
Yeah.
but it just kind of more that was just a good just action stunt, which
Just
was
action stunts to get away, but
yeah.
that's about it. That's about it. And like I said, the actiony moment here is where Robert kind of pulls away at the at we'll see to this. He pulls away at the gas and he goes away, takes an accelerant, use the flying, and it's like he had to put the like, the killing sentence just before the
Yes,
kill. It's
this
like,
is like
happy
happy
birthday,
birthday,
asshole.
asshole.
And it goes boom. By the way, because it's just gas, taking a table to defending yourself would technically work.
Yeah, it would
Because
not
you're
cause this amount of an explosion because gas hadn't actually filled the room yet. So
no, but it would definitely
it'd
do
be like
some
a flamethrower,
serious.
essentially.
It
Yeah.
would be a serious explosion. Maybe not with that much fire, but the thump action, the shockwave action would probably happen. I would guess. It's a great stunt. To
Yeah,
be
it's a good
fair, it's
stunt.
a great stunt, and the way that he picked up the table to defend himself, it's a practical. I would say a practical stunt that I kind of liked. Pretty simple. It's not like overly thing. It's just a lot of explosion Michael Bay style thing
Stuff.
that kind of carried away, but who cares, right? That's why these movies are here for, to give us a little bit of entertainment. Now, when Robert kind of gets away with Elektra, you have this sort of intense scene.
Oh,
were
with
you
Electra with the gun.
were
Mhm.
you on your edge of your seat? Because I was not. Even
No,
originally,
I was
I
like,
knew that
she's
she
not
would.
gonna do anything. I mean,
Yeah, she's either going to miss because she doesn't know how to handle a gun, miss on purpose because she does know how to handle a gun, but she doesn't really want to
doesn't want to.
kill,
Yeah.
or it would misfire and like will not fire because like safety or anything. Again, we were as calm as Robert in that scene,
Yeah.
where the fact that he took the cat as a menacing moment. It's like, oh, you're gonna hurt me, you're gonna hurt this cat.
Well, no, he was already petting the cat. He actually stops to put the cat down, going, "Hold on, we don't want mommy
Yeah,
to shoot you.
yeah. And
Go ahead."
that's where she shot at the side. It was
Yeah.
like unfazed. I would say I wasn't at the edge of my seat, but it was trying to get there. In my opinion, it was trying to be there.
Yeah, their little tete-a-tete there was just kind of like, I see what they were going for, but there was no pathos behind the character of Elektra where she would be violent at all.
Yeah, it
So
was
it's just
seemed
kind of
like
like,
it was because what did she do as soon as she got the money and she smelled problems? Her instinct was to get
run.
away, like run now,
Yeah.
like get the cat, get the fuck out, right? So staying there and having a gun, it's like she would probably take the gun and run rather than that. But what Robert says was like, I don't care how 007 you'll be. If I find you, if he found you, I would find you
Find you.
and
Yeah.
we would find you again.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter.
Because didn't he say, it's like, she said, oh, I could shoot you and I would be 500 miles away before anyone would even start looking for him. It's like, if I found you, he'll find you. That's it.
Yeah, and if Robert died, nobody would come looking for her specifically.
No.
I would say no.
Speaking of, now the next scene is whenever Antonio Banderas is in this film, I kind of just sort of like, you can't wait to see what happens.
Oh, you wanted that? You wanted the scene where he's in the
Because
bathroom?
when he was in the bathtub talking to his handler, where he just all of a sudden goes, "You fuck you, 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 fuck you."
It seems like Antonio really enjoyed this role.
Oh yeah, you can just tell he's like, I am having a ball with this.
He really enjoyed it because you can tell, right? You can tell he loved every single minute in every single scene he was in.
Yeah.
If it was true or not, I don't know, but that's what he conveyed. And again, it was so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
it was so
and
dumb.
They had the whole setup too, where basically the handler is you find out the handler, whoever the handler is, you don't know it at this point, but they're obviously they have the same handler. They're working with the same person.
Yeah.
So,
and you would think it kind of alluded to the fact that it's Nikolai, but at the end he didn't really say he was the handler.
No, the only thing that gave it away was that's not how you talk to a lady, because he says that to both Wrath and Bane.
Yes,
in their messages back and forth.
Correct. But
which in context makes no fucking sense. Why would
Wait a minute. In today's world, in the internet world, you know it and I know it. If you don't know the person, you don't even see their picture. By the way, even if you do see the picture, you wouldn't even know if it's the right
of course,
picture. It's the same woman or man or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it's just text, you would never know who the fuck this is. It could be a fucking alien for all that.
No, I know. I understand the the principle of that. Just that Nikolai is utilizing that line as the handler, where it's just like, were you trying to throw them off by thinking that you were a lady?
Yeah. And when they kind of get away, Robert mentioned, "Oh, do you want to make
like,
money?"
Do you
Yeah,
want to make $1
I
million?
love this.
Yeah.
It's like, "Do you want to make $1 million?" And her light is off by that point. This is after she turned it back on. It's like, what would I have to do? Nothing scrupulous, I hope.
No, it's nothing cheap.
Oh, nothing cheap, right?
I'll tell you about it in the morning. Well, now I can't sleep.
Well, it's like, I don't care. See, that little shot of comedy, I'm not sure was in the script. If it wasn't, it came from Stallone.
Yeah.
Like, you and I know that Stallone has that. And it's the same with Schwarzenegger. That idea of, I can be an action hero, but I can do some comedy too, and it will work. And it kind of never does.
Yeah, very, very true. So we have next is the scene
The monorail scene, yeah, where
Now-
it's kind of an action scene, but it
Yeah, but the setup for Wrath going in and doing the actual drop off, where it's like, could you be any more conspicuous? Pulling out the laptop. This is
Yeah.
1995. That's like a $2,000 Apple laptop at $1995.
yes,
And just in the middle of the busy transit stop area, and just going, as you can see, and this guy goes,
Yeah.
here, take this giant briefcase.
yeah. Now, where is this shot? Is
Seattle.
it Seattle?
Yeah,
For
because that's
sure.
a Space Needle right there.
Yeah, because Toronto didn't have that
No,
in 1995, right?
No, it's
Definitely
shot
not
here
Las
and then
Vegas.
Was it?
There's one in Vegas,
It's a-
right?
No,
Okay.
not that I don't believe so.
There's definitely one in Toronto, but they didn't shoot
Yes.
in Toronto.
no.
So
And the Toronto one
think-
is newer and it's much larger.
okay.
Yeah.
So this
'Cause
definitely
I know
Seattle.
it was shot in Seattle, and it was also shot, I believe, in Puerto Rico. Which,
Where
by the way, the location where it's shot, there
Mhm.
isn't a bank across from the hotel. They had to shoot it in two different locations.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
sure.
It
I
was
was
juxtaposed in a
You
really
don't
weird
have
way.
in coincidence that good.
Yeah.
There's just no way. No way.
Yeah.
So we get the fake briefcase with the I don't know if it was fake money, but I'm guessing it was fake money.
I would think so, because you wouldn't just blow up $1 million.
Yeah. And of course they do find out that it was a fake drop off, and when they meet again, it was like, let's see how much this is really worth.
Yeah.
Finding out that somebody would pay $20 million for it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Robert knows the perfect bank to put it in, because it's offshore and you can literally cash it in real quickly. I love the fact that it's like a $20 million. Oh, that's 10 a piece, right? It's like, no, it's 8 a piece, because the bank takes its cut. It's like, I thought I was the thief.
I was a thief.
Yeah. I was like, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's the one thing where I understand, it's supposed to be an action film and it's supposed to keep moving on at a constant pace, but it's also like, he could have picked a Swiss bank.
Yep.
And
also
Bane would not have found them.
And also the Caymans, and also somewhere else, and also not that specific fucking bank that you killed Nikolai.
You killed your mentor / friend / number one.
Yeah. But it seems like it's to Robert some sort of a poetic justice, because it seems like to me that he knew Miguel was going after him. And that's why he did it there.
Not completely, but he knew enough that, well, probably at that point, they realized that the disc was fake, so that who they would send after him would be Bane. So maybe that's what he thought. And because he did mention, Wrath does, that Bane knows him so well from the stories that he told him about Nikolai and that he's idolized him and stuff. Which, side note, there is a very funny line where he's like, I'm starting to really rethink this. Starting to really rethink who I saw as my hero.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he thought he could get away with it. And then this line too, when he's like, "You know what I want? Say please."
Oh,
P-L-E-S.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like,
And when they do, it's like,
Hey,
who's
okay.
who's the mark? It's like they send him a picture. It's like, who? It's like
he's almost like a kid at Christmas, like,
yeah, it's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like a Christmas present.
oh, I can't believe it! Yay! I got it.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of adds to like the petulant child motif of Miguel.
Mhm.
And him being, that's what I said, he's not an alpha, but he's like a beta, because he is so impatient. It seems like he doesn't fit the cool collective assassin that waits with a sniper rifle for fucking days, not hours, days
Yeah.
for his mark.
Mhm.
Right? We'll get to that in a minute. So they do travel to Puerto Rico, and we do get the kind of exposition dump where we know what happened between Robert and Nikolai, but we see Robert tell Elektra about Nikolai
Yeah.
and how that kind of helped him to get to the decision to retire.
And
right?
it also wasn't, he never actually specifically tells Elektra that he killed Nikolai.
Yes, that's
Elektra
right.
comes up with that on her own and just asks, like, "Oh, your
It's
friend
like,
Nikolai,
oh,
you're the one who killed him."
You're the one who killed him.
right?
Yeah.
And his dour look, his stony silence gave it all away. But it's like, he's been pretty stony silent for a lot of this movie, so
And so I want to know about this. So we get the scene at the hotel. I'm going to flash it up for a second. Scene at the hotel where she invited some, the room service, and Robert's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And ends up to being the actual thing. And the guy tells her about the Day of the Dead and all that stuff. And it kind of puts her in the mood to go out, where they know they don't know Miguel is coming, but Robert suspects he's coming, kind of.
That, and also, Robert is very, very specific about the fact that where it's like, hey, your life is in danger. This is not a vacation. But she just was like, oh yeah, I'm going out on the street.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out. I'm going to sneak out. She doesn't even tell Robert. And when he finds out, it's like he's livid. He goes out to get her. And we didn't mention it before, where Miguel gets to her apartment. He goes into her kind of perfume thing, and he smells the jasmine.
Jasmine.
And it comes back around, like I said, like I told you on the podcast many times, I like it when they do subtle
payoffs,
setups and payoffs, and where they go into the Day of the Dead, where it's literally this scene. Miguel doesn't see her, but he smells jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees all the jasmine flowers. Like, jasmine, it's everywhere. Right?
Oh, and also Miguel's little conversation with the street vendor. There's like,
yeah, why didn't he do it in Spanish?
Well, no, because he in his own way, he was having a little bit of a confession, because he's like, yeah, Day of the Dead, I know, I put a lot of them down there. And the two Mexican, they're Puerto Rican ladies.
Puerto Rican,
they're laughing about it, like, yeah.
They said it's like a Caribbean island or something. They said something about it's a Caribbean bank.
Yeah, well, it's
so they didn't really say. They didn't really.
We know that it was filmed in Puerto Rico. That's all we need to know. But
Yeah.
anyway, but then at the very end, what was so funny is he says Cerveza, oh, beer, and then they give
Yeah,
beer.
that
At the end, he gives them so much money and then blatantly tells them a phrase in Spanish and then just walks off.
that's why I didn't get it. So he spoke to him and he spoke to those two vendors in English, but at the end was like gracias and leaves. I was like, like he didn't say gracias. He said
He says
something
it
in
now.
Spanish.
I don't know what that is, but I do know the phrase that he did say. This is one of the first bits when he's in the car with the cops and they have his silenced rifle,
Yeah.
where he says, "I would be careful with that gun. The clip was loaded by the devil." He says it in Spanish when he's sitting in the back seat when he's handcuffed.
Yeah. And so it's a bit weird. Let's just say that. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, this scene is very odd. And then they actually have that shot too with Miguel where he is up in the hotel balcony and he shoots the fruit vendor's peach. He's like,
Yeah,
I
he
just
sets it up
killed
in the
I just killed your brother.
yeah. And he eats the thing. Yeah, it's right there, literally. He put it in the evening, but nobody in the morning saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
It's
don't
I,
know.
I get why they did it. It's sort of a script way of telling the audience without telling the audience that Miguel is a professional as well. He may be a hothead, but he's actually really good at what he
Well, a
does.
professional and also kind of a psychopath.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's like a full on psycho.
And we
He's
have
full
that,
on psycho.
but it's also juxtaposed with the conversation of Wrath and Elektra, where he just all of a sudden brings up cowboys and Indians. She wasn't cool with shooting Miguel before. Then after that, she's like, "Okay, I'm with the plan.
Yeah,
All right."
exactly. So it's sort of like he gives her the confidence of not running away. She's a part of something. She's not alone anymore. That's what he gives her. He gives her
I
the
guess.
confidence to do the things that maybe she wanted to do, but hasn't really done. Again, the script is an action movie script. You don't go into too much character buildup. Not with Elektra, not that much. Robert, yes. Miguel, yes. There's a lot of character building moments, including this one where Miguel is literally stewing
Yeah.
in that hot hotel. And that there's a point where he gets so fucking annoyed and he says, "Motherfucker." It's like,
Mother, fuck shit, fuck shit, fuck.
yeah. And he finishes his bottle and immediately he's like, "I need to fucking pee." And he pees. And while he's peeing,
He's like,
he
"What have I
he,
missed?"
he thinks he sees somebody comes out of the bank and shapes. So he was literally dick out. You don't see it, but it's funny because I know it's there.
Now, the question that I have is, in the bank, before Wrath comes down to, sorry, before Bane comes down to have a conversation with Wrath, the bank tellers say it's going to take some time to count the money. I'm sorry, there is absolutely no way in hell that they would not have an actual machine counting the money for them, and that would not be done in under an hour.
Yeah. Maybe they were stalling to get more interest of the day. It's just
The
stupid.
the only thing I could think of is they were, well, had he given them the disc before, let's say that like they were cross-referencing the data that was on the disc to make sure that they got the right disc this time before they gave him the money, that would make sense. So they were like, okay, we
Yeah.
got all the information we need. You can now give him the money. This transaction's closed. We're done. Them just going, we're going to need the entire day to count this money out.
Because I don't think they had 20 million. Well, not 20, but let's say $16 million
In cash.
cash.
Yeah.
in the bank. So you would think they don't show it, they don't say it, but you would think they would need to literally call other banks
Yeah, in order to
and
get the money.
literally get physical money there. And that would literally take time. You literally have to order in a fucking armor truck, get it moving. Maybe it's not just one more bank. Maybe it's just 2, 3 other banks.
That would
You
make more
can
sense.
justify
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
You
I
can
could definitely
justify
see them
that.
saying,
So the
like,
bank doesn't have enough money to cover the account.
had
Not
they said,
unusual.
well, yeah, had they said we're going to need some time to get the actual money, fine. They said no,
should've-
we're going to need time to count the money.
That's
No.
that's a tiny little plot hole in the script where they should have specified we need to get the money.
Mhm.
And that would imply we don't have physical
here, on
cash
hand.
here, which like I said, it didn't bother me because that's what I think when I said, okay, we need, like, you're closing a $16 million account. I don't think the bank holds $16 million cash, American money, in a foreign country.
Yeah.
But, you know, potato tatter and tater tatter. All right. Before we do the last kind of bit sequence, anything to add? Oh, we'll talk about. We can talk about this. We can talk before we do the second segment.
No, I was gonna say before Bane comes down, there is more of the building of the relationship dynamic between Elektra and Wrath.
Yeah. As she's the spotter outside. Yeah.
Where she tells him the joke about the bird, the sparrow. Which is weak. It's a weird joke, and it's also really kind of odd.
The thing is, you would think it's some sort of a setup to pay off at the end. It didn't pay off. If it was, maybe it was a part of a setup and payoff that kind of cut. The payoff got cut because of budget, whatever, or it didn't seem important enough. Yet it was, the setup was in the movie as a part of it. I don't really know where they got there.
Yeah, kind of, in a way, it does kind of pay itself off in a way, because where he said that not everyone who shits on you is trying to hurt you. Because the whole thing with Miguel shooting Nikolai with Wrath, kind of.
The thing is, to get to that, it's sort of a stretch. And if you think it's sort of a stretch, that's not really worth it. Yeah. In terms of, like, I don't know, good story writing, I would say you don't need the audience to think too much. You either show it to them and it's like, oh, that's where it comes, or you're like telling them, which is a weird cop out, I would say. To me, it was a cop out. And like I said, there's a moment where Miguel is so frustrated, he's super emotional as well. He goes in there and is like, I think I should have killed you before and not let you live. Which is
what he said before. In the cab, he said, you know, when I left the cab, I thought, oh my God, I'm so lucky to have lived, to have
escaped.
This.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm thinking, no, you're the lucky one.
But he wasn't.
In a way, Wrath is showing, again, he still has that kind of character growth on his side too, because he technically tries to buy him out, whereas, like, listen, I'll give you my portion of the money, just move on, and I'll move on with my life, and we can just leave it here.
I wasn't sure he was sincere.
I don't know if he was sincere.
Maybe
or not,
because
or
it was a bad acting. I don't know.
I think it was more the bad acting on that side, because I think if he would have said yes, I think Wrath would have gone through it just as his kind of penance, paying off that one final debt to clear himself, to absolve himself of it. Because Bane later, when he's pointing the gun down, just move your head, I'll let you be free.
Yeah.
I'll free you from this.
Yeah, but he didn't mean live. He mean free from
I know. All
right.
And we have also had Elektra's shenanigans as well.
Yeah, she was trying to get to the gun, but she fell down the fucking thing. And it kind of, like we said, it was set up that this hotel was really rickety and ragged and dilapidated and sort of she didn't fall through the fucking floor for no goddamn reason. But it serves to heighten the tension where it was close but not there because she couldn't do it. All right, let's do a second segment of the night, which is Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter for the uninitiated is we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. There's no discernible difference between the two. Both of them are good. Both of them are bad. We fall on our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. We've got two movies. Which one will we pop in? And blam, we go with two Vince Vaughn movies, Wedding Crashers or Dodgeball. That suspicion is most welcome, Mr. Saf. I know you're on a delay, but whatever.
I really have to go with Wedding Crashers.
Tell me why.
I really enjoyed the buddy dynamic that he had with
Owen Wilson.
Yeah. In that film, it also showed it had a little bit of it had character growth for both of the characters in the story, because they go from these kind of the typical kind of misogynistic machismo kind of characters in a way.
Yep.
Where Owen Wilson's character was already over it from the beginning, after doing this for so many times. But Vince Vaughn's character is completely still into it, still just ready to keep on going.
Be honest. Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers, Vince Vaughn in Dodgeball, and Vince Vaughn in Swingers. Same Vince Vaughn? Same character?
Oh, 1,000%.
For me, it's definitely Dodgeball. A much more enjoyable movies. A much more movie, not movies. I didn't quite like The Wedding Crashers. I thought it was an okay movie. Ben Stiller steals the fucking Dodgeball. He is in honesty, very small part of the movie in terms of scenes he has, but his impact is very much felt. And of course, Saf agrees with me. It's Dodgeball.
He says he hates Stifler.
He hates Stiller, but he says Dodgeball. Gangs of New York or Prisoners of Ghostland. I didn't see Prisoners of Ghostland.
That's a good fucking movie.
Okay, here we go. The Martian or Gangs of New York. Now, there's a odd pair. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. That is the Japanese poster for Gangs of New York.
Nice.
That's katakana. Okay. I'm still gonna have to go with Gangs of New York. I think it's not Scorsese's worst films. It's down there. It's still a Scorsese film. Also, Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher. Really good. The only things that are bad about it is I don't like Cameron Diaz in that movie. I really don't.
I agree.
John C. Reilly's really good in it, though, oddly enough.
Okay. I didn't like Gangs of New York.
I know.
The fact that Leo DiCaprio was there really ruined it for me. It could have been almost anybody else, and it would have been 20, 30, 40% better. I like Daniel Day-Lewis's character in it, but other than him, I didn't like it. I much preferred The Martian. Is a sort of it's fiction, but it could be as close to a real thing as humanly possible.
Yeah. In
terms of science and survivability, like real survival in an environment like Marge Simpson, like Mars. I would go with The Martian, but because Saf is here, it's going to be Gangs of New York, Godzilla, and another Daniel Day-Lewis movie, The Last of the Mohicans.
This one's actually too easy.
Really? Yes.
Yes.
Tell me.
Last of the Mohicans.
For sure. For me too.
Yeah.
Godzilla is a terrible movie. I didn't quite like The Last of the Mohicans in terms of like, ooh, I love this movie. But it's a much better film than fucking Godzilla.
Yes.
10 Commandments or The Minority Report. How could it be even farther apart from each other?
I was going to say, have you seen the Cecil B. DeMille version of the 10 Commandments, or have you seen the Charlton Heston one of the 10 Commandments?
Aren't they exactly the same?
Essentially, yes, of course, because it's from the Bible, of course. But still, they're slightly different in the way that they are shot. You can tell it's definitely a Cecil B. DeMille film when you watch it.
Okay. It's not the one everybody knows.
No, it is not. That's the Charlton
It's not
Heston.
the epic that we know. It's hard because I don't really like Minority Report. I'm gonna go with Minority Report because it's a 20s movie at the end of the day. It's a Friday evening. I don't know if I want to watch the 10 Commandments. I would watch the Charlton Heston on a Friday rather than Minority Report for real, and not because I'm Jewish.
Well,
Definitely not because I'm
I think
Jewish.
the 10 Commandments is definitely a better film, but again, given the criteria,
It's long though. But again, I'm not comparing that. I'm comparing this. And for me, the 1920s version, I would say I would much rather enjoy Minority Report on a Friday evening.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Given our criteria, I would rather watch Minority Report on a Friday evening.
Now, this is a treat because it's a Bond movie and it's a Fantastic Four movie. Now, you don't like any of the Bond movies, let alone the 60s version.
No,
you're a comic book guy, and this movie was a travesty.
Oh my god, it was so bad
to humanity. Now, tell me, which one will
they
you
made
choose?
Galactus a cloud? Galactus,
Yeah.
It made no sense. Like what? Huh?
Please tell me which one will you pop in, and I will wait for Saf to be the deciding yet unfortunate. Please tell me have you. Do you want to join the dark side?
No, I would. To be honest, I'd rather watch Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer and make fun of it.
Really?
Especially, no. Have you seen that movie? Have you seen it?
I've seen both. I've seen both.
The dance routine alone that Mr. Fantastic does.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I'm fucking with you. Of course,
Goldfinger.
It's Goldfinger, you idiot. Of course.
Of course it is. I mean, it had Odd Job. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Who throws a shoe?
He throws a hat, but who cares? Right. Last pairing. Ransom. Oh, fuck. I love Ransom. And Twilight. Please do not choose Twilight.
We've had
I know you don't like Ransom.
We've had two. No, Ransom's an okay film. We've had this would be back to back ones that are obvious answers.
Yeah.
Under Twilight, go under. Haven't seen it. Please,
really?
I want another roll on that one.
Okay, we've got it. Hollow Man
this is
or Ransom.
That's the Korean.
Hollow Man was basically the Invisible Man going back.
Yeah, except for also there's an R-word scene in that one because apparently when they make Kevin Bacon invisible, he becomes a complete and total psychopath.
Exactly. So
he
Hollow
wasn't a
Man
good guy
or
to
Ransom.
begin with. But...
Yeah. Go on ahead. You'll do first. I know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be Ransom, just because the story is much better. Hollow Man,
True.
they don't really they don't really show the progression of from going bad into psycho mode. It's literally from he's a little bit of a dick
Kind of
to
a dick.
he is a fucking creepo. It's literally from 0 to 60 in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's very, very much so.
In Ransom, there's a small buildup of a father trying to get to his boy by any means necessary, and
Yeah.
the traditional police is literally hindering him rather than helping him.
Still, that on a Friday evening though, if I was going to watch a movie that's in a similar vein to Ransom, but is different in a lot of ways, but has the overall arcing theme of a child being abducted, I would rather watch Taken.
Okay, but there's no in our world. There's no Taken. There's Hollow Man and there's Ransom on a Friday evening.
Yeah,
It doesn't necessarily has to be Friday evening, but in this case, there's no Ransom. Isn't that Ransom is a 7, Hollow Man a 6-ish?
yeah.
You would say.
I would still rather watch Hollow Man just because
All right.
you know I like cheesy horror films too. So
Okay, cool.
that's something I would watch just for enjoyment.
We'll live it without a pick. We'll get to that because we don't have a deciding voice because Saf did not watch this, and our lurkers don't want to chime in. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at because I don't want to put haven't seen them both to like do a randomizer, right?
No, I got you.
All right, cool. Let's finish up the show where we have basically the last kind of sequence and the reveal, which we spoiled. But again, in this podcast, we asked you to watch the movie first. So you know the spoils, you know everything. We just discuss it. We get Robert coming out. Miguel has the weapon, but at the very last moment, he smells Jasmine, and Electra shoots him.
And it's almost like I want that meme to play.
What?
Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh. It's definitely not in the short shorts version. And the last kind of there's a sort of a jump scare moment where Robert literally grabs her, grabs her foot, and she yells. It's like that would alert Miguel where you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and also the one when she gets the rifle, she says out loud, "The fuck am I gonna do with this?"
Yeah. There we go. I know it's just corn syrup, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube, this is corn syrup, right?
Yes.
So
with the drop on the shirt, that's the thing.
Yeah, the drop on the shirt, and she tries to like do this, and he from that he turns around and he shoots Miguel, not mortally wounding him, just enough to bring him down, right?
Well, which is odd too, because Miguel had the shot.
Yeah, Miguel had the shot. And
he could have killed them both and done. Miguel wins, and he also gets, was it $16 million?
Basically, yeah.
Well, until
Nikolai's not dead because Robert always aims for the heart.
And again, there was the line that was the giveaway where Wrath is trying to basically tell Electra off a little bit. It was like, I told you just to calm down.
Yeah.
And he walks in, that's not how you talk to a lady. And it's like, so that was the payoff on this?
Yes. That
really,
was.
movie?
Yes, okay. That was. It literally reveals him as the handler all along. Right? And he wasn't playing Robert. He was mostly playing with Miguel. He was actually maneuvering Miguel, knowing he's emotional, knowing he's kind of a psycho, and he kind of maneuvers him into a place where he sees the sort of, we'll call it the poetic justice of Robert being number one after killing Nikolai, and Miguel killing Robert to be number one
Yeah.
in the same kind of way, making it a poetic thing. And Nikolai kind of maneuvering Miguel to that sort of spot.
Now, okay, this is when I get to bring up the big question that I had watching the movie the entire time when it came to this. How long had Nikolai been the handler for Wrath?
Well, Nikolai technically died 15 years ago,
Yeah, in
but
1980.
but it doesn't specifically say how it came to be. They're technically using some sort of a old version of the internet or the dark web or whatever you want to call it, where there's some sort of online communication
Yes,
for
very much so.
forum style or direct link or whatever, which, even back then that's what they used the internet for, to relay messages through the web.
Yeah.
It doesn't say. It even doesn't say whether or not the same handler dealt with the first kind of mark that Robert did, and the sort of Electra as a mark. Because there
Well,
was some sort of a rapport. He did say the target is retired,
yes.
and the answer is, "Oh, will you take another mark?"
Well, I've been sitting on this one contract, which was Branch, but then Miguel got the Branch contract too.
Yes.
So I think that's was Nikolai setting it up where Bane was going to kill both Branch and Wrath at the cemetery. Because Nikolai even mentions, he goes, "Well, it's good to see you again. However, I wish I wouldn't have because I thought you'd already be dead."
I don't know. Maybe. Kind of weird. And of course, there was some sort of a like alliance between thieves for a second to
Yeah.
execute Nikolai. And there's a moment where Robert and Miguel, it's like Robert says, I'm gonna fucking retire with this
I'm done.
money.
Yeah.
You're number one no matter what, because I'm not in the business anymore. And
Well, it was
Miguel's
also
like,
Bane. Before that, though, Miguel had already, actually unchambered the last round and threw his
yeah,
empty clip at him.
yeah. So there was some sort of he sort of gave up, but when he got like a new lease on life where Robert is like, I'm not going to kill you. You're number one. I'm leaving this business. Miguel has that insatiable appetite.
Yeah.
And where he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
That was the thing that kind of got me about this ending as well, where I'm just like, that would have been a way better ending had Miguel just accepted the fact that, okay, I'm number one now. He's out of the game. We're done. Because it
And
actually would be
also,
character growth for Miguel as well.
and not only that, if you think about it, you might be sitting on a fucking franchise where you can do Assassins 2 with Robert that retired and Miguel doing I'm number one, but you're still alive, so I need to kill you. That sets up Assassins 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Or even setting up someone where, Miguel is now number one in there and he gets pulled into a different bit of intrigue with another bit of Assassins. Or there's another handler that's coming after Miguel now or you could even set it up where they're not going to let Wrath get away because they know now that this one handler's out there. And they technically never got the disc. Because at the end, they just leave and Nikolai still has the disc.
Yeah, the disc has a lot of information about Nikolai. That's what's important about it.
Well, Nikolai...
It's information about assassinations.
Well, because no, he says this has information that this is for about everything.
Yes.
So it's about all of them. So everybody would eventually want that disc. any handler, any assassin would want that disc
Exactly. So
because it implicates
it
them.
literally can set up a sequel,
Yeah.
but again, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. So have that.
But again, is it off the character of Miguel to like say, no, I have to kill you? No, it's not, because he's a fucking
No.
emotional psycho.
Yeah.
He's an emotional psycho. It's like, I would rather fucking kill you.
I'm sorry too. This is also another shot where Miguel clearly could have killed both of them. Even after, if he got shot once, he still could have pulled the trigger. His hand was still there where he would have been able to shoot Wrath in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Easily.
He had to give that stupid villain folly where I have to tell you a little bit more about what's going on instead of just
what I was thinking. What I was thinking, but when I first saw this, I thought like, oh, that's a cheeky little bit there. When he pulled it up and made a clicking noise, I thought he was just showing him like, oh, I could have killed you, and there was no round in the chamber. So he just fired him like, see, I am number one. Ha 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 ha. Roll credits. Now, see, that would have been, again, playing on that original ending, that could have been a good way to end it.
Could have been better. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I literally faked you, and it did took a shot, but it didn't really take a shot.
It's like, well, see, I could have killed you.
I could have killed you.
Won. So that proves to me that I really am number one. So, yeah.
And of course, we get that fake, oh, I can see you through the mirrors of the glasses where, no, but okay. Elektra does the glasses. He sees in the back. Okay, I can aim, shoot, blam, blam, blam. Miguel's dead. And done. Movie over.
It's just like, well, let's go get Pearl a boyfriend. Let's go to the hospital first. Do you notice at the very end of it, there's a meowing? Where'd that come from? Pearl was not with them.
No. That was a bit dumb. I admit it. I
at the end of like, hey, everybody, remember that really important subplot about the cat?
Anyway, so that's it. That's it of the movie.
Yeah,
it's literally 2 hours that for me, if it was an hour and a half, it would have been perfect, but it went by really, really fast. It went by really, really fast. Yeah, you watched it 4 times. How was it? 4 times in a row.
I gotta tell you, by the 4th viewing, I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to watch this shit again. But I'm trying to pick up anything that I can because, again, there's nothing about this movie really out there. I was the first watch. I was like, okay, I get it. This is fun. It's a popcorn, actiony kind of film. It's a watch. You forget it. You could watch this film, think of this film, think of Face Off, think of Broken Arrow, think of any of the mid-90s action films.
The Specialist.
And kind of go, I think that was Assassins.
It's so weird because Bad Boys came out roughly around the same time, so mid-90s. And Bad Boys did a lot more for action movies that Assassins did.
Very much so.
Generally speaking, wasn't so different of an actiony movie. Had more shootings, one more bigger explosion, but again, it was down to the comedy bits that kept it alive. Most of the action wasn't really good. The comedy in the action movie, the fact that I know I'm going on a different movie, but the fact that Mike Lowry was a different, like there's a switcheroo in there, which kind of give it a little bit more pep to the step. Maybe that's why it was more into the consciousness. Again, had a sequel as well. This one, if it was written a little bit different, kept Miguel alive, could have had a sequel maybe, perhaps, but it was a close-ended movie where you had a beginning, start, and an end. Same with The Specialist as well, where
Very
another movie that Stallone did, Time Forgotten, blah, blah, blah. Kind of a weird one. Again, sort of I would say, in 90-minute escapism into the action world type Michael Bay, whatever, less explosion Michael Bay, maybe.
I would say, honestly, though, I think one of the reasons why this movie is really forgotten is that they stretched this out, I think, a little bit too much. Because there's a lot of superfluous fluff in the film.
Yeah.
I think they could have
could-
made this a tight 100 minutes. They could have cut out at
Yes.
least 22 minutes of stuff, just very easily.
I think they could. A lot of moments going up to the hotel, you could cut away a lot of these pieces away. You could just let Robert just show up in her room without him searching the computer, right? You could have done Miguel showing up in outside of the room as well. Again, you don't have to explain how exactly they got there.
Well, and
A
also,
lot of these pieces could have been avoided.
the entire Dios de los Muertos scene could have been cut
Yeah.
completely. It added
Yeah.
nothing to the film.
Yeah, that whole scene is about 10 minutes, 8 minutes, I think. The hotel bit, starting from the hotel bit,
Yeah, where she or the room
where
the
she
room
ordered
sort of
the
kind
rooms.
of makes sense just to emphasize the danger that they're in, but that he could go from that to him directly into that speech about the Cowboys and Indians. They could be back to back. Him
Yeah.
emphasizing the danger that they're in, telling her that, like, I might need you to do this. Here's the reason why. Cut off right
It
there.
seems like the whole Day of the Dead evening was to show that Miguel was there in the market to buy that peach to put on the thing. That's the only thing that kind of made sense, but it could have done in a sort of a minute
a different
instead
well,
of 10.
They could have. I think it was also just to emphasize the danger that she was in, for her to understand that, hey, no, this is real.
Yeah.
He's here, and he's gonna kill you if he sees you.
Yeah.
Because he knows that you're with me. So,
All right. Cool. A small little rump in the sack for us in terms of movies. But let's see the short version of Assassins before we end the show.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
Here we go.
Someone had to do the jobs you wouldn't do.
Amen. Because God has chosen to call our brothers name.
Robert Wrath.
Misha takes Rook Pond.
Ship takes Rook on. Check. Game in check.
Coffee. Tuna fish.
Interpol. Honey, I'm going to tear your heart out.
Happy birthday, asshole.
I'll just disappear.
I found you, so did he. You can't hide. I'd like to make $1 million.
Well, what do I have to do? Nothing cheap, I hope.
That's $10 million apiece.
No, it's $8 million. The bank is 20%.
Man, I thought I was a thief.
Jasmine. It's all over the place.
Fuck shit, motherfucker!
I'm a very, very lucky man.
No more chit-chat.
He always went for the heart. Predictable.
As long as you are out there, I'll never be number one.
Bye, Miguel.
You know what's weird?
What's that?
That was basically the movie.
Yeah.
That was basically it. Cool. That was fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, after so many weeks, next week we will not have a podcast because both this boy and myself are going to the UK for some fun and finally get to hug each other IRL after 3 years.
3 years, buddy.
After 3 years of talking back and forth and not, COVID and other shits. But when we come back early August, in about 2 weeks, I think it's August 13. August 13 is our next episode. We will start our Matt Stone and Trey Parker month.
Oh God, it's gonna be so
I
much
know.
fun.
Oh, my feelings. It did expect it. We have plenty of good stuff for you, and we will start with another movie that time has definitely forgotten, called Orgasmo. That's a fun little thing. I'm actually going to watch it on the flight going to and coming back, so that's going to be my 2 times. It's going to be fun though. Exactly right. So watch until we get back. Watch Orgasmo. We've got 2 weeks to go. Watch Orgasmo, and if you're gonna guess what we're gonna think of next, watch more of Trey Parker and Matt Stone stuff because it's gonna be fun. We have some guests coming along, so it's gonna be more fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good month.
It's gonna be a good month. August is gonna be fun. So if you want to interact with the show while we are away, please do, because I will be available more because no family, no attachments, just this guy and me, and other friends. At Mephisto on Twitter, at Mephisto79 on Instagram, and of course you can email the show at the Reel McCoy podcast at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And until next time,
always flawless, right, little Jimmy? Always
flawless.
Flawless, just to a T.
And we'll see you then.